One of the cool things about writing is that you never really know when your next idea is going to come along, and you never really know where your creativity is going to come from. I mentioned a couple of times that I've gotten ideas from my own personal experiences in wrestling, especially, but I've also put myself in positions where I just spitball ideas with a lot of people that have nothing to do with wrestling, because I'm able to get different perspectives of what wrestling's about, different ideas. If I feel like someone has a weird brain, I'll normally try my best to dissect it as much as I can, especially while talking about wrestling. But I actually had a friend of mine who came up pretty much with the initial idea of Dominick Silver. Now, Dominick Silver is the villain in Skar's storyline. He's the guy who fights for the love of Skar's sister, recently resurrected sister, Susan. Having a conversation with a guy from work, just spitballing ideas, he's just talking shit. He basically talked about the vignettes that I did for Dominick Silver in Skar's storyline. He came up with the idea of this guy floating around the forest and just running around with crows all behind him and trees and living in a tree and being a tree. And I expanded upon that. And that's what was cool, is that I was able to expand upon this random idea made by some guy that isn't really into wrestling. And in my opinion, I made it a really strong story to finalize the 100 episodes of Skar itself. But that's what's really cool, is that, I listened. I was just like, give me an idea. Give me some sort of idea for wrestling. And he came up with a lot of those vignettes. And I said, what would be really cool is if I melded that in with the story of Skar. He didn't have the idea of Dominick being the long-lost lover of Susan from way back in the day, but I pieced those things together. So it just goes to show that not only does my own personal experience in wrestling make an impact in the stories that I write, but it can literally be a random topic with any person, especially just talking shit about wrestling, and you can sort of just go from there. So basically, long story short, Dominick Silver wasn't really my idea. The intellectual property goes to my work friend. But it's just really interesting to me and how I expanded upon such a small, silly, random idea and made it such a vibrant, interesting, eerie, destructive part of Skar's career. And that's what creative writing is. If you haven't checked out the book yet, please do. All the details are down below to explain exactly how that can happen. But until then, guys, stay creative. Have a good one.